Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be starting at the Huey P Bridge and we're going to continue on all the way to Audubon Park, and we're going to stop along the way so we can see some things that I think are a little interesting on the bike ride here. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right in. Alright, so right now, here we are, we're at the Huey P Bridge on the Mississippi River Trail. We're right underneath it, if you couldn't tell. Sorry if it's a little noisy. From this section, from the Huey P Bridge to where we're going to the Audubon Park, the entire length, I guess you could say, of this section that we're going on is about 7.8 by 8 miles. So from the Huey P to Audubon Park, we're looking at about 8 miles. And this will be our good little starting point right here. The thing is that the Mississippi River Trail, and I didn't know this, is actually over 3,000 miles long. And it starts in Minnesota and it ends down here on the coast, right? So the bridge itself opened up in 1935. It's here in Jefferson Parish. And it's the first bridge in Louisiana that crossed the Mississippi River. And it was named after Senator Huey P. Long. So the bridge itself now today has 6 lanes, right? 3 on each side, and also still the 2 railroad tracks in the middle. Now, an interesting thing before this bridge was finished was that before, and you can see it kind of right up there, the track itself, they actually had to break the cars down and ferry them across the river. That must have been crazy back in the day to have to ferry each individual, or break the cars down and ferry them individually, get them across the river. So at one point in time, the rail structure, which you can see behind us, that used to be what was considered the longest in the world, about 23,000 feet. So located in Jefferson Parish, it was opened up in 1935, and it was the first bridge in Louisiana that crossed the Mississippi River. So back in the day, around 2010-ish or something like that, they went through a pretty good, I could say pretty good, they went through a $1.2 billion plus renovation that increased the width of all the lanes, and I can tell you from personal experience, it was a nightmare before they did that. At 23,000 feet, it used to be the world's longest railroad bridge that went over water. Since then been toppled, but still in the top 5. So here on the trail, guys, they got so much stuff. Like, there's all these little spots here on the right side, you know, on the riverside, that are just, they would be, you know, some nice little adventure spots where you can just kind of get ducked off and hidden. I wouldn't recommend going into some of them because obviously some of it's private property, but further down the river, I guess you should say up the river, there's some areas where you can, it's kind of like a little community taken care of nature trail. You know, some folks from the community come around and they just take care of it. You know, they'll cut it down, you know, with machinery, and just kind of keep it, they just keep it up so the rest of us can enjoy it. So one day, we're actually going the opposite direction of that right now, but one day we'll take a little adventure down there. All right, guys. Now, as you come down the levee, you're gonna, be coming across little things like this. And I'm not going any further, obviously, for very obvious reasons. But this is just one of the stations where all the pump stuff happens, and I guess you can say some of the magic happens for the levee system, right? Because the levee system in New Orleans and Jefferson Parish and some of the surrounding areas is the only kind of it like in its world. So as we go through, we get a little further. We'll stop and take some little detours so you guys can see some of kind of, not all the magic behind the scenes, but some of the stuff that makes it, make it happen. It kind of sucks. Kind of sucks when we're pulling up, so you see the little "Be Weary of Horse" sign, right? The little equestrian sign. And here on our left, let me swing it over a little bit. We can see a little better. You can see that they just kind of turned it. They demolished everything, and they're gonna turn it into something else. There used to be a little equestrian stable right here where you could come and take tours on the bayou side with horses, and now you rarely see that. So. All right, guys, so we're taking a little walk in here now. We're going down some pretty tall grass here, so now you can see that, this is, we're right here on the riverside of the Mississippi, and this is normally, most of the time this is completely covered, right? You see the tree lines, and of course that's usually all grass, but as you can see, the erosion over, since I've just been cycling just a short amount of time, just a few years here on this trail and in this area, that you can even start to see some sand. Like it's not coming back, baby. It's taking over. So, the Mississippi is strong, right? And that's one of the reasons that you don't see. I mean, look at those currents. That's crazy. You got cross currents going across currents. So it's a very dangerous place. That's why you never see people doing anything inside the river. Quick fact: it's actually over deeper than 200 feet in some certain places, and around the French Quarter area. One of the most dangerous places of the river, at least that's fully occupied, is because of how deep it is there. So the French Quarter is some of the deepest that the river is, that people live on. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy to see something like that happen in such a short time frame. So let's hope that we can figure out a better way to take care of this place. All right, let's keep going. All right, let's keep going. Here's one of the bigger pump stations where kind of all the magic happens, for the levee system, and that's one of the towers that I was talking about. Like I said, they're pretty tall. I'm gonna have to get a figure for you guys, but it carries the power all the way across the river, and you can kind of make out the two in the back. You know, there's actually two of them. There's one here and one a little further, and then there's one there, and then there's one a little bit, you know, further back than that one. So, you know, and shite, right? This is what I'm having to go back to. So, you know, no pain, no gain, right? All right, let's continue on. So, you know, not as open as it used to be. So, still really cool. And then again, we won't really be going any further. But this is, you know, like I said, there's just so many of these little spots along the riverside. It's really neat to see how all of this pieces together in the one big puzzle. You know, it's very unique.